He played the tough guy, talked about family, made millions of fans love him. But behind the sunglasses and fast cars, Vin Diesel was hiding something people didn't know. For years, Meadow Walker stayed quiet. She was Paul Walker's daughter, the girl in the background, until now. In a calm but honest moment, she finally told the truth about Vin Diesel. What she shared stunned everyone. Was it love? Was the relationship between Vin and Meadow as perfect as it seemed? Are there things we don't know? And what really happened in the years after Paul passed away that changed the dynamics behind the scenes? This is more than a movie, and the truths are more unsettling than you think. Let's get right into this video. They were more than just co-stars. The brotherhood between Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. When you hear the names Paul Walker and Vin Diesel, you probably think about the Fast and Furious movies, right? But the story of these two guys goes way deeper than just cars and action scenes. Behind the camera, they were like real brothers. Paul and Vin met back in 2000 while filming the first Fast and Furious. They quickly became best friends. Both loved cars, action, and working hard. But what really brought them close was how much they cared about family. They believed in loyalty and keeping their life private. Vin gave Paul the nickname Pablo to show how close they were. Vin has said that Paul helped him grow as a person, especially when it comes to fatherhood. Before Vin had his own daughter, he wasn't sure if he was ready. But seeing how Paul loved and cared for his daughter, Meadow, gave him hope. Paul didn't brag about being a dad, but he made sure to spend lots of time with Meadow, even changing his work plans for her. When Vin found out he was going to be a dad, the first person he told was Paul. To honor him, Vin even named his youngest daughter Pauline. He said he thought of Paul while cutting the umbilical cord. That's how much he meant to him. So when Paul passed away in a car accident in 2013, it was a huge blow for Vin. He said it felt like losing a part of himself. However, Vin didn't just mourn alone. He stepped up to help Paul's family, especially Meadow, who was only 15 at the time. Vin calls Meadow his goddaughter and has been there for her ever since. Over time, Paul and Vin went from being co-stars to best friends and finally family. After Paul passed, Vin didn't try to replace him. Instead, he chose to honor Paul by being a father figure and a mentor to Meadow. Every year, Vin posts about Paul to keep his memory alive. That's what made Fast and Furious more than just movies about cars. It was about real friendship, love, and loyalty. Even after Paul's death, their brotherhood lives on through memories and promises. Paul Walker was loved by many, but most people didn't really know the man behind the fame. So, who was the real Paul Walker before the fast cars and red carpets? And what legacy did he leave? Stay with us as we dive deeper into this video. Before the fame. The early life of Paul Walker before the spotlight, fast cars, and the world knowing him as Brian O'Connor. Paul Walker was just a sun-kissed California boy with messy blonde hair. Paul William Walker IV was born on September 12, 1973, in Glendale, California. His family wasn't Hollywood royalty. His father, Paul Walker III, was a saw contractor with rough hands and a fighter spirit. Literally, he was once a Golden Glove boxer. His mother, Cheryl, was a beautiful fashion model with a big smile and strong beliefs. Paul was the oldest of 5 kids in a tight Christian Mormon household. He had 3 brothers and a sister, and he grew up learning how to fix things, pray before dinner, and protect his siblings like a real big brother should. What people don't always know is that Paul didn't even want to be a movie star. He started acting when he was just 2, not because he wanted to, but because his mom thought he'd look good in diaper commercials. And he did. He was a natural. He went from Pampers advertisements to small TV roles in shows like Charles in Charge, Highway to Heaven, and Touched by an Angel. But fame never changed him. Even when he started appearing in movies in the 90s like Varsity Blues and Pleasantville, he stayed grounded. You'd more likely find Paul fixing up a car in his garage or surfing in Malibu than hanging out at a Hollywood party. Here's what's really surprising. Paul's real dream was to become a marine biologist. He looked up to Jacques Cousteau. Yeah, you heard right, the famous ocean explorer. Paul studied marine biology in community college, and he never lost his love for the ocean throughout his whole life. In fact, in 2006, he joined National Geographic on a real-life shark expedition for Expedition Great White. He helped tag great white sharks off the coast of Mexico. Not many actors can say that, but Paul could. He felt just as at home swimming with sharks in a wetsuit as he did driving fast cars on screen. Eventually, his big break came in 2001 with The Fast and the Furious. But even after he became famous, Paul didn't act like a big star. He stayed easygoing, kind, and more excited about cars and cameras. He truly loved driving, not just in movies, but in real life. He had a personal collection of over 30 cars, including a rare Nissan Skyline GTR R34, just like the one his character Brian drove in the films. Apart from films, he was also a businessman. He co-owned a car shop called Always Evolving. It wasn't just a place to fix cars. They built fast, powerful race cars and even competed in professional races. Paul was hands-on with everything. He worked on engines, helped design cars, and even raced them. He didn't just act like a car guy. He really was one, with oil on his hands and a love for speed in his heart. Besides cars, Paul had a passion for helping people. After traveling to Haiti to help with earthquake relief in 2010, he started a charity called Reach Out Worldwide. It's a group that sends skilled volunteers like doctors, nurses, and rescue workers to places hit by disasters like earthquakes, floods, and storms. Paul believed in doing more than just writing a check. He showed up, got involved, and encouraged others to do the same. Even after his passing, his charity is still active in helping people around the world. However, Paul's greatest pride was his daughter, Meadow Walker. Born in 1998, she lived in Hawaii with her mom until she was 13. Then she moved in with Paul in California. That wasn't just a change of address because it changed everything. Paul said he finally felt like a complete man when he could make Meadow breakfast every day. He didn't want just to be a weekend dad. He wanted to be her hero, not just on screen, but at home. And he was planning to take a long break from acting right before he passed, just to spend more time with her. Paul never cared about being famous. What really mattered to him was the ocean, his daughter, and cars. Vin Diesel always respected that. But here's where things get interesting. Years after Paul passed away, his daughter Meadow started sharing more about her life with him. She posts pictures, memories, and little things to show how much he meant to her. One person who's always been there for her is Vin. He stepped in like a second dad. He made promises and stayed close to her. But some people started asking, did Vin do enough? Or did he go too far? Stay with us, because next we're going to talk about the real Vin Diesel. Not the movie star, but the man behind it all, and how Meadow may have felt deep down, even if she didn't say it out loud. From Mark Sinclair to Vin Diesel, the making of a street king before he was Vin Diesel, the street king of Fast and Furious. He was just a kid named Mark Sinclair. He was born on July 18, 1967, in Alameda County, California. But he didn't stay there long. After his parents split, his mom moved him and his twin brother, Paul, to New York. They were raised by their mom, Delora, and her new husband, Irving Vincent. Irving wasn't his real dad, but he was a theater teacher and treated Mark like his own. That's where the acting dream first started. Vin never met his biological father, not once. And even though he doesn't talk about it much, you can feel the weight of that silence. That missing piece shaped how he saw family, love, and loyalty. He once said that family isn't always blood, and has lived by that ever since. Vin got his first acting job most unexpectedly. When he was just 7 years old, he and some friends broke into a theater with plans to vandalize it. But instead of calling the cops, the theater manager gave them scripts and told them to act in a play. That one moment changed everything. As a teenager, Vin worked as a nightclub bouncer to make ends meet. That's when the name Vin Diesel was born. Vin came from Vincent, his stepfather's last name. Diesel came from his friends, who said he was always full of energy, like a diesel engine that never stopped. However, Hollywood didn't welcome him right away. His mixed-race background made it hard for casting directors to figure out where he fit in. So Vin decided to create his own spotlight. He made a short film called Multifacial about a struggling actor who couldn't land roles because of his looks. That short film made its way to Steven Spielberg, and just like that, Vin was cast in Saving Private Ryan. But his real breakout moment came in 2001 when he became Dominic Toretto in The Fast and the Furious. That role didn't just make him a star, it turned him into a legend. On screen, he was all about speed, strength, and family. Off-screen, he was just a man trying to protect the people he loved. Vin is very private, but here's something most people don't know. He's been with the same woman for over 15 years, Paloma Jimenez, a stunning Mexican model. They have 3 kids together named Hania, Vincent, and Pauline. Vin keeps them far from the spotlight, just like his late friend, Paul Walker, did with his daughter, Meadow. After Paul died in 2013, Vin stepped in as a father figure to Meadow. Vin Diesel didn't just become a star. He built himself into one. From the streets of New York to the streets of Fast and Furious, he turned pain into power and loss into love. And through it all, one thing stayed true. He never turned his back on family. Vin Diesel's role in Meadow Walker's life on November 30th, 2013, something very sad happened. Paul Walker was riding in a car with his friend when the car crashed and caught fire. Neither of them made it. Paul was only 40 years old. The news shocked everyone. But the one special person it hurt the most was his 15-year-old daughter, Meadow. She didn't just lose her dad that day. She lost her best friend, her protector, and the person who meant everything to her. Meadow is Paul's only child with Rebecca Soteros, and for most of Meadow's early life, she lived with her mom in Hawaii. Life there was quiet, far from cameras and bright lights. But when Meadow turned 13, she made a big move. She wanted to be close to her father, so she moved in with her dad in California. It was a fresh start for both of them. Paul had always loved being a father, but now he finally had the chance to be there for all the small things like school mornings, birthdays, and dinner talks. He was even planning to slow down on acting just so he could spend more time with her. For Paul, Meadow wasn't just his daughter. She was his whole world. But then, that life changed in an instant. After Paul passed away, Vin Diesel quietly stepped in. He didn't make a big deal about it. He was just there, checking on Meadow, spending time with her, and letting her know she was still surrounded by love. He invited her to hang out with his own children. He made her feel like family. Vin has said that he felt like Paul gave him a job to watch over Meadow, and seeing her with his children is one of the most beautiful things to happen to him. He didn't try to replace Paul. He just wanted to be someone Meadow could count on. As the years went by, people started to notice how close they had become. Meadow would go with Vin to red carpet events and spend time with his kids. Vin called her his niece, but anyone could see their bond was strong, like a real family. And in 2021, something beautiful happened. Meadow got married to Louis Thornton Allen at a simple beach wedding in the Dominican Republic, and it was Vin who walked her down the aisle. He wore a light blue suit, and she held his arm with a big smile. That moment touched so many hearts. Vin wasn't taking Paul's place. He was standing there for him, with love and respect. Since then, Vin has supported Meadow in many ways. He cheers for her modeling work and shares her projects online. He also helps support the Paul Walker Foundation, which helps kids and protects the ocean, things Paul cared about deeply. Vin once said it took time to learn how to be there for Meadow the right way. Grief is hard, and there's no one right thing to do. But Vin stayed close, quietly and gently, year after year. For him, honoring Paul meant taking care of Meadow, even when no one was watching. What did Meadow really feel about Vin stepping in as a father figure? Was it something she wanted or something she had to accept? Did it help with the pain or bring new feelings she didn't talk about? And how did all of this lead her back into the world her dad left behind? Meadow Walker joined Fast and Furious and sparked a storm after her father passed away. Meadow started something close to her heart on what was supposed to be Paul's 42nd birthday, the Paul Walker Foundation. It focuses on ocean life, animals,